Serviced accommodation is going mental right now. I can record that July and August 2021, we've done record-breaking figures, 2x, 3x what we was doing before the pandemic. But will it last? If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button right now for weekly content, and don't think you can just get all my hacks without showing a bit of love, so make sure you do that right now. Into this video, SA, serviced accommodation, is absolutely going mental. I keep looking at my phone and I can see Airbnb and the channel manager blowing up, and we're hitting record figures. The question on everybody's mind right now is, will this last? So on this video, I'm gonna be breaking down 3 key things to consider in terms of what's going on in the environment, and then 3 things that I'm implementing in my business to make sure I deleverage my risk and I can move forward even if the staycation market does pull down a little bit. So let me just set the scene. COVID struck and the hospitality sector got absolutely smashed in. Okay, I remember looking online and people panicking. And I'll be honest with you, I never forget when Boris made the announcement. The next morning I woke up at 4:30. I looked at my portfolio, and at the time I was guaranteeing 25k rent a month or whatever. And I was like, how the hell am I gonna pay this? Like, if things don't get moving, I'm gonna be in deep shizzle. Okay, so anyway, moving forward, what's happened is as things have started to open up, people now want to do stuff. And it's obviously a lot easier to do it locally in the UK. So we're seeing bookings for staycations increasing, but we're also seeing a lot of businesses trying to catch up, and therefore the demand for serviced accommodation is through the roof. People want their own unit now. So what I want to do is I want to break down 3 key factors as to whether I think this will last. The first one is, I think there's been a massive shift and there's going to be a change in people's habits moving forward. And that's on a logistical basis, because logistically right now, it's tough to get out of the country. Okay? Just logistically, you've got to think about tests, vaccinations, isolation when you're back, what you got to do when you go there, okay? You know, what happens if you end up getting it whilst you're there? What happens if you get it in transit? You know, what happens if you've got somebody around you that's seen as vulnerable and therefore you don't want to put them at risk? So that leads me to believe that I don't think that the staycation boom is going to be dead anytime soon, because I think there's going to be a change in habits. People are going to want to stay more local and make the most of what's at home, logistically. The second point is the finances. And I don't even think we've really seen the depths of this recession yet, because, you know, make no bones about it, there is going to be one. Talking of which, James, how are we doing?
I'm all right. How are you? Are you well?
I'm fantastic. I was just talking about you. What's going on? It was all these SA bookings we're doing together.
Obviously, all the boys are checking out on Monday.
Yeah.
So she's going to put some of them up in a hotel, but she's going to need a 9 of them housing up until the 20th of September. So it's going to be like another month and a week. So I just wanted to give you a quick call just to see what, if or anything, we can do.
Yeah, I think I've got 2-3 beds that could work for them. I'm with you. How many, by the way, how many guys have you got out at the moment in terms of SA?
Sorry, what do you mean? As in how many clients?
Yeah, between all your clients, how many guys do you reckon you've got in SA units right now? Rough figure.
200.
It's crazy, man.
200. It'd have been a lot more than that. You'd have been nearer 300. We just had a few big jobs finished.
Crazy. So I'm saying, like, James is hitting me up all the time with construction workers. But anyway, as I was saying, point number 1, I think there's going to be a change in habits, a change in what people want from their holidays, trips, leisure. Point number 2 is the finances. Like, we've not even seen the depths of this recession yet. As soon as furlough ends and, all the benefits and stuff in terms of the COVID support systems end, people are going to be in a rut. And when they're in a rut, are they going to be able to spend $5,000 on a holiday? Or are they going to be able to spend $1,000 or $2,000 going to the coast? So I personally think there's 2 factors there which could see this continue for the foreseeable. Last but not least, and this is an interesting factor that I think we do need to consider, is legislation. Service accommodation at the moment is very under-legislated compared to HMOs. And I think with the fact that there's so many SAs coming onto the market now, we always need to watch out for the downside and the potential for new legislation coming in and then disrupting the market. I personally think what they would want to do is increase the standard of SAs. So they might mean SAs need licenses or you need to be registered. And I don't mind that, because I know my properties are of a very high standard and extremely good in terms of health and safety. So for me, that would just get rid of people that aren't operating at the highest levels, but that could disrupt the market. With that being said, as James was saying, there is a huge influx of construction and corporate serviced accommodation demands. So in my business, what I've been doing for a while now is I don't rely on one thing, okay? I don't rely on leisure, I don't rely on travel, I don't rely on corporate, I don't rely on construction. I have a mix of them all. Same with the HMO side. I don't rely on students, I don't rely on professionals. I do a combination. So I think one of the key things that everybody needs to do right now, if you're in SA and you're smashing it, key thing you need to do is you need to make sure that you're diversifying. So get certain properties that are right in the heart of the city that are going to be great for leisure and tourism, but then get some units which are just more bog standard, solid properties that you can do construction and corporate. And if you need any bookings, hit me up, because I've got about 10 other people like that are constantly churning out bookings. They're the 3 things that I think are going on in terms of the environment. Now, here are 3 strategies that I'm implementing in my business to make sure that I can overcome if the staycation market does take a dive. Number 1, construction. As you've heard from James, construction is massive right now. There's huge demand. There's people spending millions every year on accommodation. And the interesting thing about construction is they don't necessarily need palaces in the heart of cities. They need solid houses with good communal spaces, clean bathrooms, good garden space, nice kitchen, that's all, okay? Good parking for their vans. So some of the houses on standard, mundane, terraced streets that you would overlook could work. So what I would say is, if you're in Article 4 and you see all these terrace properties, or maybe you're in a place where the terrace properties don't work price point for your HMOs, why not try SA? Point number 2 is corporate. So what I'm talking about here is professionals, businesses, working away from home, training, and I find the best way to attract these clients is through offering high standard of accommodation with parking, multiple bathrooms, slightly larger properties, 2-bed plus, and you can get some massive bookings in for that in terms of the prices you charge. Typically corporates pay higher per man, but what I've found is that a lot of those can be a little bit shorter stays. So I want to build up my base of corporates, maybe do some ads and try and attract that demographic. And last but not least, you want to make sure that you're finding a niche. So go on AirDNA, look at what's out there, look on Airbnb, look at booking.com, try and find a niche, whether that be area, standard, size, price, that nobody else is filling, and own it. And what I do is I delve into a market space, I smash it out, and then I keep going on it until the demand starts increasing. Okay, that's what I do, especially on the rent to rent side. I'll take a property on. If it gets booked up quickly, I'll take another. If it gets booked up quickly, I'll take another. If it starts getting booked a little bit slower, I'll then pivot to a new niche. So SA, absolutely massive, whether you're purchasing them or you're rent-toing them, huge time to be in SA. If you're already in it, well done. If you're thinking about getting in it, is it too late? No, of course it's not too late. You just need to get started. And I personally think the change in habits and also the fact that there's such a revival of construction and corporate and people trying to catch up means SA is going to be safe and sound. Just make sure you diversify and keep an eye out for that legislation. I hope you found this useful. If so, smash the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video.